Out in Kailua, she has her restaurant. Try check it out. So Herbert Ho's daughter, yeah, Tammy. Yeah. So if you want to support a good Hawaiian restaurant, Hawaiian-owned restaurant, a Hawaiian chef, Tammy Smith, and you know how her food is. You guys had them last time, and then this time was my kai, yeah. So I know her catering business is called Ke Aloha. Okay, so similar to her catering business, Hale Ke Aloha Aipono. And so yeah, Aipono food and Honoloa, Hawaiian food, cannot go wrong, yeah? So mahalo for that, Tammy. I know she's over there, she can't even hear me, but she knows I appreciate her. We have this afternoon 5 speakers in the lineup. So the first speaker, and I'll just take a moment to remind everybody about our ground rules. And mahalo everyone. For the most part, we're awesome. We followed our ground rules, letting every speaker speak, offer the entirety of the presentation. We're holding off on the questions to a little bit more. And if you're wondering what all of these chairs are for, they're for the panel of presenters to come up. And they don't have to be stuck behind the wall. They can scoot up, but we're just going to have them there for now. For the panel to come up afterwards, and we can ask questions. So if you guys can hold the questions till then. And then if you guys want to have conversations, please enjoy the conversations outside. That's my kai. You have to go to the lua. My kai, it's 641. And thank you. I think that's it for the ground rules, yeah? Respect, aloha, we know how to do all that. Our first speaker this afternoon is going to be John Osorio. Oh, yes. Okay, they're conferring a little while. After that, we're going to have Michelle Kaho'olawe from CNHA, and then Daviana McGregor from the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana. As you folks know, Kaho'olawe is one of those land bases that will automatically be part of the Hawaiian nation. And then following Daviana will be Walter Reddy, and then we're going to be closing out the panels with Bumpy Kanahele. So that's our lineup. And then our QA panel. Okay. Okay. Mahalo nui.
Despite the fact that we probably will take about 7 minutes. Into the mic. Aloha mai, I'm Jonathan Osorio, and I'm representing here on behalf of MANA. Movement for Aloha no Ka'aina is an organization that's about 8 years old. It's informal, it's not a 501c3. I don't think we're even incorporated. And really it's an organization that was put together envisioning itself to be the foundation of a political party. Assuming that we will have an independent government at some point, we wanted a political party that would espouse the principles of a Hawaiian government, such as complete independence from the United States, demilitarization, and of course, aloha aina, love for the land, and economic use of the land that is in keeping with Hawaiian traditions. That's basically what MANA stands for. And now I'll read our statement. MANA, Movement for Aloha no Ka'aina, has been facilitating a series of meetings attended by Oiwi scholars, community activists, educators, and Hawaiian independence leaders ever since the Office of Hawaiian Affairs announced its intention to bring an end to the registration of Hawaiians through Kana'i'oluwalu and move toward the organizing of a Hawaiian government. In an effort to preserve the intent of OHA to have a fair and unbiased process going forward, and recognizing that OHA had in the past spent in the neighborhood of $20 million to lobby in Washington and advertise in Hawaii and the U.S. in favor of the Akaka bill and federal recognition. And in light of recent announcements from OHA that delegates for a constitutional convention should meet as early as September of this year, MANA and its supporters make the following appeals to the Board of Trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. We strongly urge OHA to do away with the current timetable involving the creation of a Hawaiian government for the following reasons. 1, OHA has lobbied and advertised for one form of government, federal recognition, for almost 10 years. In the interest of openness and fairness, other strategies and models of government should be given at least as much time as the proponents for federal recognition. 2, the United States had 61 years from the Newlands Resolution to the Statehood Act to create an educational and social system that resulted in large numbers of Kanaka who conceived of themselves as Americans. That is twice as many years as there has been a sovereignty movement in Hawaii. 3, proponents of an expedited process claim that a favorable political climate exists in Washington, but that climate favors a single model, federal recognition. Hurrying to a political agreement privileges federal recognition. That's the first thing that we're asking for, we're urging actually OHA to adopt in order to follow its own intention to have an open and unbiased process. Do away with this immediate timetable. The second recommendation, we recommend that OHA detach all participation in the process of creating a Hawaiian government from the Kaho'olawe role for the following reasons. 1, Kaho'olawe owes its existence to state legislation, Act 195, which limits the scope and extent of self-determination for Oiwi. 2, Kaho'olawe has been hopelessly flawed by combining active registrants with passive registrants from other lists whose names were combined with Kaho'olawe without their free, prior, and informed consent. 3, the numbers of people who are registered with Kaho'olawe without their prior knowledge and without lifting a finger to actually register vastly outnumbers those who registered with the intent to participate. 4, if OHA allows only those on the Kaho'olawe rolls to participate in the creation of this government, it hands participation and a controlling block to a majority of people who may not have the slightest interest in the future of Hawaiian government, much less an independent government, while barring participation from those like you, who have been actively involved organizing, educating, and exhorting our people toward political sovereignty for decades. That's the second recommendation. Here's the third. We acknowledge that a fair process requires that OHA make revenues and resources available to segments of our lahui who are campaigning and educating our people for a political sovereignty that is not federal recognition. MANA and its supporters wish to propose educational programs including community outreach, internet resources, video production and broadcast, and request an expedited process for obtaining grants and funding for this education. Some of us are prepared to submit funding proposals so long as there is sufficient time to create these educational materials, and so long as our people are assured of their ability to participate, whether or not they have signed the Kaho'olawe role. And I'd like to make something really, really clear here. We're not saying that we want to open up funding for MANA. We want to see funding open up for education for independence. This has been signed by Noelani Goodyear Ka'opua, Terry Keko'olani, Ili Malong, Manu Ka'iyama, Dexter Ka'iyama, Andre Perez, Scott Kekuava Kikiloi, Ikai Kahasi, and Jonathan Osorio. I'm going to say one last thing, and then I would like to ask Leikoa to come up and take the rest of my time. When when we have made this statement before, last Monday, Paulette Machado basically informed us at the table that the reason for hurrying wasn't necessarily to push federal recognition, but to protect the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and that a change in administration in Washington might make OHA's existence much more tenuous. In thinking about this, and I really hope that the OHA trustees are listening, it seems to us that the way the federal government works, it's unlikely that Congress or the President are actually going to interfere with something that is mandated by the state of Hawaii. Therefore, if OHA is going to be really threatened, it's going to come through the courts. It's going to come through the composition of the Supreme Court and what they decide based on somebody complaining that OHA is, unconstitutional. And sort of my opinion on this is that, there's already a 5-4. In other words, if all 4 of the liberal justices ruled for us, we would still be outvoted by the 5 conservative members that are presently on the court. It could be that in a few years it might be 6-3 or 7-2, but it really doesn't make any difference. 5-4 is just as good as 7-3 or 7-2. So we don't think that there's so much of a hurry here. And then the last point I would make is this. No matter what happens going forward, no matter what happens, what government we create, OHA is gone. If we create the independent government that we want, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be gone. If federal recognition takes place, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be gone. OHA needs to think ahead about when it's gone, and it needs to support this initiative from its people in the fullest possible sense while it is in a position to do so. Thank you.
Vina me ke aloha. E to hopo atani e te mauliola. E ola hoi o mauliola. E ola e tani tunulona. Oia hoia e ola. I ho kahi kamanao. I ho kahi pu'uwai. I ho kahi ke aloha. E mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. The confusion is we're forgetting the wisdom that has been passed on by our kupuna. One heart, one people, one voice. Our Queen Lili Okalani said, the voice of the people is what? The voice of God. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Not the voice of Governor Abercrombie. But that's what we're facing here right now. Not the voice of certain legislators. Not the voice of the trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, but the voice of the people. And I will submit to you, I don't care what process that goes forward, if the voice of the people is not at the center of this movement, poho, hema, na vali, na kamea polowai, o kamana, o kapoe. So wherever we head, for me, that's the platform I push. Akupuna also said, kulia ikanu. Kulia ikanu. Not just enough is good. Or we're going to take what we can get. Or that's the only process that get. Because that's what I hear. Me, I have faith in our people. I live my life with faith in our people. I live my life with the faith in His place. Because our Lord never put us in His place to be pushed around and manipulated and led like sheep to our deaths. If we're going to survive as a people, it's not just about 10 years from now. It's not about just some Supreme Court decision. If we're going to think we got a plan for 100 generations, because Because you see, our people, we've been around this place for 1,000 generations from La'i. And I will submit, if we work together, Lokai, we'll be here for 1,000 more. The great Malcolm X said, the biggest mistake is organizing our sleeping people. The biggest mistake is organizing our sleeping people. You have to first wake them up to their heritage, their humanity, and then you get action. He didn't say go and make a list of names and just go and choose multiple choice and hope for the best. He said, the point I'm trying to say, Kuli Kanu demands more than that. Pupunas taught us, di mayao, whatever you do Ohana pono. You do mayao. Not hema. And I look at the process that's going on right now, and I've shared some of that. To me, it's hema. If at the very beginning, from the foundation, it doesn't come from our people, something is wrong. If from the very beginning, it doesn't benefit our people, something is wrong. If from the very beginning, it turns its back on our own people, something is wrong. Because right now, this process that OHA currently supports, Act 195, Kaho'olawe, is turning its back on people like me. He's telling Kalekoa, all that you say and you do, ikalamai, but you never sign this Kaho'olawe list, so you out. He's telling me, Kalekoa, Johnny Kello from California, who may have no idea what the hell's going on in Hawaii, his right is protected. But Kalekoa, you, your family, your in-laws, your kids, kalamai, you out. My point is, we got to get past that. I asked the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, I asked our people, we gotta have the courage to say, we can do it. We don't need Governor Abercrombie to tell us to unify us. Only us can unify our people. That's period. And I believe that. I get no fear. I'll sit with anybody from any place in the world. I have no fear. Yeah, it's like the great Gandhi said, Satyagraha, the truth force. You know, the truth is so powerful. And I agree. Like Uncle Bumpy and others out there who say, when you present the truth to our people, they don't come. Then therefore, why is this process being rushed through? Who benefits from a populace that's not as educated? Who benefits from a people rushed into some kind of corral? Not our people. See, therefore, I would submit to you, remember this. In any political science 101 lesson, you have the oppressor and the oppressed, the dominator, the dominated, the colonizer, the colonized, the settler, the native, the slave master and the slave. The only time the oppressed are disunified is because the oppressor was able to come down and manipulate some of the oppressed to create disunity amongst the oppressed, so that the oppressor now can manipulate the situation to keep their control and power of oppression over the oppressed. So the lesson for all oppressed people is that we got to be strong enough, united enough, committed enough, and have the courage enough to say, we're going to do it together. What should we do? Exactly what you see going on like here today. This is the first time in many years that we've had these kinds of opportunities and discussions to share. And it's not always pleasant. But what did Kamehameha tell us? Imuena poki, ina wikawai ava. Go ye forward, my younger brothers and sisters, and drink the bitter waters. Because there's no turning back. He never tell us the water going to be sweet. He's telling us it's going to be bitter. Because something of value is bitter. Struggle is never easy. You think the powers to be led by people like Abercrombie going to just walk away and say, oh yeah, Hawaiians, you deserve all this stuff? No, they won't. You're foolish if you believe that. It's going to take struggle. It's conflict. Their interest is to maintain power over us. So I ask OHA, let go of Abercrombie's hand. have the courage to tell Abercrombie, you have no business in our self-determination. Tell Abercrombie, he has no business telling the world he's giving Mauna Kea to the world. And if any of you are confused about Abercrombie, go and read what he says. He does not have the best interests of our people. He has a conflict of interest to maintain and protect those who exploit our people and our lands and resources. Kamau ea. 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 Ea o ka aina. Wamau ke ea o ka aina. Ea o ka aina. It doesn't say Constitution A. Doesn't say Constitution B, King Dad. Those are tools that we use. You better get confused. Those are just the tools that we use to protect what? Ke ea o ka aina. And we use these tools, but we got to remember there's a difference between tactics and destination. The destination has to always be ea o ka aina. So I ask very quickly that we make a statement of unity amongst all of us, that we are unified. We let go of Abercrombie's hand. We unify in spirit. And we would struggle. Number two, we got to push back this timetable. Obviously, somebody is pushing this timetable for their own benefit. At whose expense? Our people's expense. And number three, the mandate. Who can speak on behalf of our people? But our people. Not the Office of Hawaiian Affairs negotiating in Washington, D.C. Not the leadership of Kaho'olawe in Washington, D.C. They don't have the mandate. They may have some backers. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Wamau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. Mahalo.
Mahalo nui, John. Mahalo nui, Kleikoa. Michelle Kaho'olawe. For the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement.
Aloha. Sorry we weren't able to be here this morning. It was our quarterly board meeting, so I'm apologetic to have missed this morning. I'm not here to tell Oha or anybody else in the room how to do this, what to go. I was asked to do two things specifically, to talk about the process and specifically how does CNHA approach the rebuilding of our Hawaiian nation. I'm reading your question, Kehau. So our approach has been, CNHA is a 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization with a 21-member board and about 150 NGOs that make up the network that is the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. And so our members are active in housing, education, healthcare, cultural practitioners, the whole gamut. We convene, and our work has been around convening Hawaiians to try to get us together. Most folks know of our annual Native Hawaiian Convention, to try and exchange ideas, to network, to talk about what others are doing in the community, to try to build that network and educate our people. Our mission is to enhance the cultural, economic, and political and community development of Native Hawaiians. And so inherent in our mission is our duty to serve, and that is what we have been doing. So when you ask us, Oha, what has our approach been? For the last 13 years, our approach has been in an effort to unify Native Hawaiian community, and we do that through several programs. We are an active policy center, and we have, as many of you know, done advocacy work both at the state and federal level. We try to provide access to capital to Hawaiian communities that are sometimes underserved. That's been another strategy. Again, our convention and exposing ourselves to other natives around the country, that we have definitely engaged with other native folks in Alaska and in Indian country, and also to other indigenous groups in the Pacific. I'm trying to get this out because I can't get it in the right spot. what I would like to say about our approach, what has CNHA's approach been? And many folks will say our approach has been federal recognition. We keep talking about recognition, sovereignty, self-governance. CNHA's position has been about self-governance for ourselves. Native Hawaiians creating a native government where we get to decide for ourselves what is good for us. We will not deny having worked at the federal, at the state level, but we believe that a governing entity, a native governing entity, is required, that we have spent time on building or rebuilding our Hawaiian government so that we have an opportunity as a governing entity to negotiate with other governing entities, whether that's the state, the federal government, other countries, or any other country. So it's been about self-governance. The platform of what CNHA has advocated for the last 13 years has been about self-governance, and that has been where we've been. First and foremost, the steps taken, and that what we believe as the consortium of our NGOs is to empower the NGOs to continue doing the work they're doing. What have we been doing? We've been supporting our Native Hawaiian organizations to continue doing, if they're farming, to be have resources available to continue farming. If they're in housing, to help build their capacity to continue developing housing, because those are direct responses to the needs of our people. And that is the work that we have been doing for the last 13 years. I also want to be clear that we have never taken a position to stand in your way. That we don't believe that any one position or that any one group or one person should impede on the opinion of another. That I agree with our last speaker, the voices of our people. Our people can speak for themselves. I disagree with the fact that our people are uneducated. Hawaiians are awesomely smart. They are educated. They do understand. And I would ask that we also consider about the voices of those who have placed their names, right? That they have an opinion and they have a process that they see as well. And if you're saying we shouldn't shut out a Hawaiian voice, I would ask, what about the voices of those 200,000 that are on the list? Those are Native voices too. Right, I see you shaking your head. Those are Native voices too, right? So I'm saying we're not going to say, no, I don't believe that any sort of federal or state recognition has been the barrier, has stood in the way of achieving what many of you in the room have worked for. Nor do we intend to stand in your way as you go forward with that. But there are many voices on that list, also Native Hawaiians, who see a process, who agree with that process. It is a quick timeline, but I would beg to differ. When I look at Leimana, I have seen photos only of Leimana being on this journey, and your son was a child. Doing this, he's 40 years old now. So, why now? It's not like we just started this because OHA made an announcement. We've been on this journey for many, many years. For the last 14 years, I've been dragging my son to these meetings. When I see Leimana's son, I don't want my son to be 40 years old and saying, sorry, we left you at the same exact place where we were. That's all I'm saying. So what are the steps? Basically my message is we reject that any single Hawaiian can impede upon the position of another Hawaiian. And so I will say to you that Kaho'olawe is voluntary. You don't have to be on the roll. You don't have to place your name. It's totally voluntary. Right? And it has to be voluntary. No one can force you to be on that list. Governor Abercrombie is not holding our hand to make us be on the list. If you decide to place your name, that is up to you. But for those Hawaiians that have placed their name, they have an opinion too. They are also Hawaiians and also have a vision and a process that they see going through. So again, I will end by saying that CNHA's position has always been, since our inception, that we are about self-governance, that restoring a native governing entity that has the ability. County government has its own sovereignty to govern over its residents and its people. State government is a sovereign government over its residents and its constituents. And we support a native governance that at the core of its existence does everything it does with our people in mind. Is our culture thriving? Is our language thriving? Are our people being properly cared for with health? Are they housed? We want to have a governing entity that can negotiate with other levels of government to make sure that we have all of those things for our people. So that has been our position. That remains our position. We have placed our names. Not all. Some members have not. But that is a choice that's totally up to them. And so my comments to you really lie in, we are not standing in your way. We are not saying that any kind of recognition at the state or federal level or any government-to-government relationship does not impede you from going after what you have sought after. Nor do we plan on standing in your way. The recognition that we have sought, or the governing entity that we have sought, has not been the barrier to achieving recognition by the UN. And then we have waited over 150 years. So that the rush is not because this started a month ago or 3 weeks ago or last week. Our people have been doing this work for hundreds of years. Thank you.
Can we wait for the QA during the QA time? So, so the next speaker is going to be Daviana McGregor from the Protect Kaho'olawe Ohana. Michelle Ka'uhane. Mahalo, Michelle.
Aloha kako and aloha aina. I asked if we could be included in this discussion as I heard it unfolding today. On April 8th was 10 years since the Navy left Kaho'olawe after the cleanup of 10 years. They finally totally left the island 10 years ago on April 8th. On May 7th, I believe, May 7th will be 20 years since the U.S. Navy transferred the title to the island to the state of Hawaii at ceremonies at Palauea on Maui, 20 years. And Kaho'olawe still stands ready to be embraced by a sovereign governing entity recognized by the state and federal government. Because what's holding up Kaho'olawe from being part of our lahui, or iwi, is a law that says that the state of Hawaii holds Kaho'olawe in trust for eventual transfer to the sovereign Hawaiian entity when it is recognized by the state and federal government. We stand waiting for that to happen. Kaho'olawe stands waiting for that to happen. And we're not alone. We have many other land bases, communities, health care programs, educational programs, who are all waiting for us to have the standing that we need as a people, as long as Hawaii is claimed as a sovereign, under the sovereign authority of the U.S., we need to have standing and recognition that is afforded to indigenous people within the United States to protect our entitlements, our claims, our ancestral lands, and the practices of our religion. Our Ohana doesn't have a position on sovereignty, which path to go, because we support all paths to sovereignty. We support state recognition, we support federal recognition, we support total independence, and our members represent all of those points of view in that mana'o. Uncle Harry Mitchell, our kupuna, told us, we're all on the same mountain. We're all kulia ikanu with that mountain to full self-determination, to full independence. We're all seeking that. But we're all going on different paths. And as an Ohana, we should support everybody going on their path and support and lift them up. And whoever gets there first, mai ka'iloa, but support each other to get along that path. We have also, our mission is to spread aloha aina, work for aloha aina on Kanaloa, Kaho'olawe, and on each of our home islands. And that means aloha aina at all levels, loving the land and the natural resources, caring for our aina, caring for our ocean. It means nationalism. It means being strong for our nation, our lahui oiwi, and its self-determination. And at the deepest level, it means that we recognize our gods and we bring them back into our lives, and that the land is our spiritual source of strength. The land is what we want to protect and elevate. We want to, as an Ohana, we've said, have the island be a pu'uhonua for all of our groups to come. We invite all of you, please come have a session on our island. Uncle Makanani was trying to make a mua. We're going to have a mua so we could invite everyone to come, and there on the mua to envision our future as a lahui oiwi. We don't have that mua completed in Honakanaya. We have a mua that we built in August of 1992 with the Pali Kanakaole as the kahu. And that mua stands ready to receive everyone to come and leave your political labels aside and come and envision together what is our future as a nation. So we invite you. We've been putting out that invitation. The island needs to be that place, a safe place for everyone to come together and dream about this future nation. And as the nation proceeds, whichever nation we are building, our goal as the Ohana is to be assured that your vision for the island is to keep it a sacred center for our lahui, that this is one of the important, we have many sacred places, we have many sacred centers, and Kaho'olawe is one of those most important sacred places that we want to elevate and become a center for our culture to be practiced and for people to come from different schools of our culture and our arts and our sciences and master our skills there. And it's not the only place, but it certainly is one of the most important places because it's free of all the distractions we have on our home islands. I wanted to add some personal observations from my work as a historian and at Ethnic Studies Department at UH Manoa for your consideration. First of all, those who are advocating for the independent Hawaii nation, that Hawaii nation cannot just be a nation of Native Hawaiians. It is a nation of everyone who was born and raised in Hawaii. The nation did not stop evolving at the overthrow. It continued to grow and evolve. And it continued to include all who were born and raised in our islands, not just those who were recognized as citizens under the illegal 1887 Constitution, because that was a racist constitution. It was a sexist constitution. It excluded women, and it excluded all Asians who were living in the islands at that time from participating. So I want to point out that The nation that was inscribed in the United Nations in 1946 was a Hawaii nation that was multi-ethnic, that was inclusive of all the inhabitants in Hawaii at that point in time. So that was what was recognized as the nation that had a right to exercise self-determination. And all of those inhabitants living in Hawaii in 1946 and their descendants, at least, should be participants in the process of reestablishing the independence of Hawaii. The second thing that I'd like to point out is that if you look at how the United States treated Hawaii and Native Hawaiians during the territorial period, they had two different policies. One policy was to look at Hawaii as this nation that they had claimed sovereignty over and who they were occupying, and to treat it as a territory, to colonize it, to take away our language, to assimilate, not only take away Hawaiian language, but all the other people's languages, to force all of the children in Hawaii to speak English only, not only Hawaiians, but all the keiki in Hawaii. So that was their policy toward the territory, to Americanize it, to assimilate it. But the policy toward Native Hawaiians was different, because the United States, even at that time, recognized, and the U.S. Congress, more so than the existing Congress, acknowledged that Native Hawaiians were indigenous people like the Native Americans. And they state this in policy. When they mandated the Smithsonian Bureau of Ethnology to study Native Hawaiians and Native Americans, they acknowledged that it was their role to work with the Native Hawaiian people to rescue the culture and make sure the culture was perpetuated. When they established the Department of Hawaiian, well, at that time it was Hawaiian Homelands Commission, they acknowledged it was that they had a trust relationship with Native Hawaiians. When they passed the Kalapana Extension Act to include Kalapana in the Hawaii Volcanoes Act, they acknowledged that Native Hawaiians would have a right to homestead in that park and would have a right to continue to fish and gather in that park. The policy of the Congress was consistently to recognize Native Hawaiians as having self-governance and being a unique, distinct people like Native Americans, while they treated the territory as a whole, the Hawaii nation, as this multi-ethnic territory. So I would like you folks to consider that Native Hawaiians do have a right of self-governance that has been recognized by Congress, that will again be recognized more formally, and that I hope that as you build your nations, your independent nations, you envision that independent nation, that you also recognize that within that nation, Native Hawaiians who will be a minority also have a right of self-governance that will continue past the United States into that new independent nation. Native Hawaiians will continue to have a right of self-governance that I hope you will recognize. So finally, I just want to say we have this idea from, I think it's Auntie Harriet and me, but Walter might correct me, that when the Ohana gathered on Molokai to consider whether or not to sign a consent decree with the U.S. Navy and begin a process of joint governance of the island, access to the island from 1980 to 1990. The kupuna said, everyone come and share your mana'o. And the idea was ho'ili'ili ka mana'o. Each of us have, maybe it should be ho'opohaku ka mana'o, but ho'ili'ili ka mana'o. We all have our mana'o to share. Let's all bring it together to build one nation, one ahu. And build it in stages perhaps, or else continue on our separate paths. But I did want, and so my time is up, but I did want to acknowledge Uncle Leslie Kuloloyo as our kupuna, and he's also the head of the Ahamoku, and I didn't know if he might want to just add anything, or mana'o, but I don't, is he still here? Oh, Uncle Les, mahalo.
talk about the definitions of sovereignty. Talk. Hey, 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 hey. Knowledge. Yeah. What pissed me off after Kaho'olawe is when they molest Honolulu Harbor. That's this. Not one of the organizations will make a move. Ua kupuna, all the fish, the head, the lole, the vana, everything's they come in a market. The Kaho'olawe, Endangered Species Act, 0. The whale, 0. God, funny. So what I'm saying is I'm going to jump what the spirit of the Ohana was and my spirit today. And now this is the spirit I like. You know what I like when I seen water? Hayden, Hayden, all you folks come on this at Kaho'olawe. I like this. Eko, my guy. My guy, you know what I mean? You gotta go hit for the target, aim. You know, Okupuno, they know how to aim. They're all going fast. But we know how to aim. We know how to aim. Makes sense. We get you to aim. It is my class. What? Oh, don't talk bad now. Oh my God. You know, I go, hey, and snare the knowledge of Okupuna. Hey, out. Yeah, tango all the knowledge. That's what we're doing. Hell with the PhD can talk. And then so, hey, the other word I'm using is como. Hey, I want to use como, fisherman talk como. Como means like this, como. Fungi, algae. Hey, we know political science. Hey, go ahead, como. 2 against 1. 3 against 1. Oh boy, hey. How many guys? 2 or 3 against 1. No, it's not fair. Away. Para. Oh my God. Como. Hey, I talk in bed. Hey, we get hey. Como. Now I'm going, muli. When Kani and Kaho'olawe, muli together. Kai. Kani, muli. That's what we do. We say muli with each other. Now we can talk fish talk. I'm making sense. What's like I talk hey too? Hey. Huh? Hey, you like I suck your nipples on your head. You know what I mean, eh? Talk fish talk. How many of you eat okala? The one look the okala, if you know okala, the okole. Don't go like this. I eat. How many of you folks eat lole? What? Kawaii, lole. The lole pua, I eat. The lole kai, I eat. The lole coco, I eat. Why? They're the floor cleaners of the earth. After Opala, look inside the stomach and that's your. Nana, I'm not going to talk. Ohana going. Island is ours. Bikini too. And Honolulu Harbor too. And Pearl Harbor. Maikai. And Haleakala. Maikai. Kaho'olawe Harbor. Maikai. And Long's Drugs. My guy. If Oha can buy this building, I own this building. My guy. Deviana, thank you. But that's the spirit. Guess what? When I joined the army, I go, do you solemnly swear to be United States Army? I mean, yes, sir. What's your name? Kuliolio. And he said, just before state. Not native Hawaiian, but 50%. You know what they got, all of us local boys? The catch-22. I'm registered as a Caucasian. You folks know that. No lie, man. On my army record, Caucasian, you know what? They never know how to put the black from the white separate. Down as boy.
So that, I just want to keep the humor and plan as generations for generations. And thank you for letting me bring my little mo'opuna. Aloha.
Mahalo, Deviana. Mahalo, Uncle Les. Our next speaker is Walter Riddy. Walter? Oh, mahalo.
Hello, my name is Walter Riddy from Molokai, and in coming to these sessions, trying to figure out what is going on. And some of you, this is the first time I've seen you guys at this session, so I know you don't know what's going on, because I don't quite understand what is going on after all the time that I spent. It's very confusing. It's what's going on, and we need to understand as much as we can. So I'm going to try and give you my mana'o of what I see going on here. We all understand that OHA has been part of the effort for a nation within a nation, and they spent lots of money, lots of time, lots of energy, and the state has joined in the fight because they failed at the federal level. So, okay, we got Kaho'olawe going on, and it's the same process. So in the meantime, people who are talking about independence, they're people, they were called dreamers, unrealistic, pushed to the side, not given any money, not given any credence to the whole thing. So time goes by, OHA is not successful after spending all of that money. So the Kakabil dies, Venezuela dies, Akaka retires. So now there's a big void going on. So OHA decides that we're going to give voice to the independents. So the process was make an announcement and invite all of the independents to come inside. So we came inside, I saw what was going on, and while we were here, OHA was still in Washington, D.C., talking to not the Congress or anything like that to do a law, but to the Department of Interior. So there's other ways to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish if they couldn't pass the Kaka bill. So that is still going on, right? You saw this morning's paper, or was it yesterday's paper? So people trying to figure out whether or not Oha and Kaho'olawe is still attached or not attached. And everybody's still confused about that, the answer to that, because the words say they're not attached. But the actions speak louder than words. So people are getting confused. You say one thing, but something else is being done by the same guys that you've been funding all this time. And it becomes really, really confusing out there. So the thing that I support the most, and I'm concerned about the most, is the timetable. Who came up with the timetable and why? And we presented to the board that people feel there's not enough time for us to put the team together that's necessary to defeat the United States of America. We don't have enough time to do it. There's no response back as to why a year is so important to do all of this. So we're left to guess. I'm just guessing right now. So my most educated guess is that we have people that are in Washington, D.C. at the Department of Interior. Several people. We got lobbyists being paid by, I don't know who, whether it's Oha or Kaho'olawe. They got lobbyists over there. I don't know what connections the Brown sisters still have over there, but there's some connections because they're very well connected to Washington, D.C. So there must be some kind of connection. And then we have Oha that's connected over there because they got lobbyists over there. So right now, they're trying to figure out how can recognition be done without Congress, just through the Department of Interior. That's why everybody is still over there. How can the Department of Interior recognize the Hawaiian Nation? So, in order for that to really go through, we need the Hawaiian people to say yes when the Department of Interior says, we recognize you guys. So the timing has to be right for the Department of Interior to make their move and for the Hawaiians to accept it in order to consummate the deal. So that's what looks like is going on. And I'm trying to get somebody from the OHA trustees to tell us why, if not what I'm saying, then why the rush? Why the rush? Because we've made our case that we don't have our team ready. We don't even have Dali Trust at this table joining us. We don't have our people. That's the problem. That's the huge problem we have. The number one problem that faces what we're trying to do, that you're having problems with, is people participating, that reinstated government is having problems because they don't have enough people. It started off with 5,000, and I'm sure they don't have 5,000 now, because when we have our meetings on Molokai, we used to fill the room packed with Hawaiians. Now it's packed with non-Hawaiians. So we're having problems getting our people, because I don't know if they're sick and tired of all of this, or somehow they're just not wanting to participate in any of this. The number one problem we have is we do not have our people. And that's why OHA makes negotiations that end up, I don't know if they're ever going to get Kaho'olawe going, because they didn't have the people to negotiate. They negotiated from a position of weakness, because they don't have the people backing. If we make the same mistake as a group and not go out and spend the time and energy in order to get our people, we're going to be in the same box. We're going to be begging. We're not going to be negotiating. We're going to be begging. So I'm here to say that we have to, as a group, the first thing we need to do in order to figure out what is going on. I don't know if OHA is facilitating. I don't know what that means, facilitating. You know, we come here, is it our agenda? Whose agenda are we following? So, is that what facilitating means? As far as I'm concerned, I can only take that so long. In the beginning, you can handle because you got to start somewhere. But after a while, and we're at that point of being after a while, we got to be in control of this thing. If we're going to be, quote, independent and following the agenda of the state Office of Foreign Affairs, the people are going to look at us and laugh, right? The same reason why we're not buying into Kaho'olawe where the state sets everything up. And he was doing the same thing here in this room. So what I would like to suggest is the first thing we need to do is demand that this timetable be eliminated. It has to be eliminated and off the table. We got to make that clear. We should not be participating if that's not off the table. Because all we're doing is stalling time for the Department of Interior to join Kaho'olawe's list, and we're done for. So I have the feeling that we're being used only because Oha's unwillingness to listen to us. They went to Kaho'olawe, and they had the same thing. I saw it on the videos. People want the timetable to be extended, to be educated. I heard some speeches today that hit right on the news. Even Mama came over here and hit the same thing on the news. So that, we shouldn't go anywhere without that timetable being off the table. That thing needs to be at least 3 years for us to do a proper job and put our team together. The second thing, of course, is Kaho'olawe. I don't know how more ridiculous the situation. I just cannot understand how you can justify telling Hawaiians you cannot participate if you don't sign up. When we got examples of how it was done in the past where everybody could come and sign up, Henry's gang got better example of how they did theirs, and the example that Oha is using doesn't even come close to allowing our people to participate. But those two things, if we can get over those two things, then I would feel better that we're not being led around by the nose, that we are actually in control of our own destiny and not being led around by the Office of Foreign Affairs. I think they have good intentions, but now they need to show their colors because it's not easy for Oha to change, right? They're pushing. And even though they're telling us, come inside, they're still pushing. So, you know, we gotta come to grips with that part. We cannot be allowed to be led around like this. And on the island of Molokai, I bring a message from the island of Molokai. We're not in support of the 1887 Constitution to be brought to island of Molokai. We're not sure yet if we agree with any of the processes going on. What we know is that we have our own process on Molokai, and so far it's working well for us. It's called the Ahamoku process. It's a traditional process that goes back before contact, and it's working for us. It's a process that starts with each ahupua'a, then into the moku, and then all of the mokus get together. It's a bottom-up management process. It's none of this rolling and with all the leaders from the top tell us what to do. This is a bottom-up Hawaiian traditional process that we're trying on Molokai. So we're not just saying we want this process, we're actually implementing this process on Molokai. So I just wanted to throw it out there into the mix so that we realize how complicated this whole situation really is and why we need so much time to raise our nation. So right now, I see on a piece of paper to raise our beloved nation. The action is we're going to protect. It's not raising, all the action of this nation within a nation is not because we want to raise a beloved nation. It's because we want to protect the resources that we have so far, and we want to get more monies to come down through the federal government so that we can become richer. I mean, we need 3 trucks instead of 1 or 2 trucks. I'm not quite sure. But it's not about raising a beloved nation. It's about assets. It's about getting more assets from the federal government. The only problem is it's tied to this thing called tribes. And if you go out on the street and look out, nobody wants to be a tribe. You know, I mean, it's like hard to understand that kind of language. So I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how we can be independent, become independent as a group. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we need to be detached from OHA. We need to be telling the trustees what we feel and how we feel and how we go through it and what is the timetable and who can participate. If not, we're all being used. That's just my opinion. I wanted to give the rest of my time to Andre, if he's here. He's calling the Department of Interior to check on what I'm saying. So, yes, those two items, time and more ways to participate. Maybe the office. All of you in this room that would like to get rid of the timetable and increase the time to allow us, please raise your hands so we know. OHAP, can you guys take a picture of this, please? Please, OHAP, take a picture of this. This is a message to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. You get your camera, take a picture of this. The voice of the people says we need more time. And we need to decide among ourselves how much time and justify that time. So this is a message we're getting all the way from Kelka all the way to Oahu. Oh, huh? Right on. Okay, Andre. And how many of you, let's since that was a really good vote. How many of you feel that we should have more than Kaho'olawe as a process for us to participate in this? So those two things are supported by the independents in this room. So OHA, please listen to the voice of the people. If they don't listen, then this room can be empty.
Okay, aloha. Sakewata, I wasn't even ready for this, but one thing I have learned in nation building sovereignty, you always got to be ready. So I guess what I want to speak about, to gather my thoughts, is the unity of our people has to be paramount in self-determination, sovereignty, and nation building. If we're not a unified people, then and they move forward with this process without us, without many of our people who will be left behind. Can you just imagine, use your imagination on what it would look like post-governing entity? You're going to have Hawaiians suing. You're going to have Hawaiians rejecting, fighting. You know, I cannot help on an extreme level but think about this, the division and what happens down after that, decades later, civil war. I think of the Hutus and the Tutsis in Africa killing one another. That scares me. And I'll tell you that Kaho'olawe has already made an admission in their public notice to all of us. If you do not sign up with the roll, you and your descendants, they use the word descendants, it makes me angry, will not be recognized as Native Hawaiian or as part of the governing entity. Who has the right and the authority to disenroll descendants before they're even born? And that's the danger of a roll. That's the danger of a role. I would say let's look at that terminology, role. What is a role? Where does that come from? So I want to say something regarding Michelle Kaho'olawe's comment, and in connection to Kaleko's comment, where Kaleko said, we want to educate, and Michelle countered that by saying we are an intelligent people, we're brilliant people. That's right, we are a brilliant people, we are an intelligent people, but that's not what we're talking about when we say education. When we say education, let's put this one to rest. We're talking about educated decisions informed on nation building. When we thought, what is the difference between sovereignty and inherent sovereignty? What is the relationship of inherent sovereignty to governing entity? We need to know that. That is not independence. It's not in control, yeah? When you look at Senator Inouye's writings over the years, he would say that Hawaiians have the right to their inherent sovereignty. Inherent sovereignty is rooted in tribal law, American Indian Act, yeah? So already the language, the discourse is loaded. Yeah, when we talk about self-determination, what's the history of that word? How has it been used and constructed and redefined over the years? America has used that language, and in their framework, they call it the right, the consent to be governed, the consent of indigenous people to be governed, wards of the state. So we got to be clear on this. So when we say we need education, we're not saying that we're not intelligent. We're saying that we're not informed on the particularities of nation building. And I know that we're not, because I see Kanai Oluvalu commissioners using the term occupation and inherent sovereignty in the same sentence in relationship to one another. And they are diametrically opposed to one another. So we're not informed as we should be. And our leadership is not. In fact, I would say a lot of our independence guys are informed, but apparently the leadership are not as informed. And I can guarantee you a lot of our lahui who's struggling out in Makaha, Waimanalo, Keaukaha to survive are not as informed as they should be. And we have a responsibility to make sure that they are informed. So that's what we mean by education. Yeah. So this process, the timeline, must be pushed back. And for me, I'm kind of lure about the very validity of this process when it comes out of state legislation, the state being part of the illegal occupier. And they're going to legislate our self-determination. I don't know. But that should be the most powerful reason to say we need more time. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Mahalo Walter, mahalo Andre. Our last speaker for this afternoon is Bumpy Kanahele.
Actually, going to talk about the nation of Hawaii and what we've done from 1993 to today. I think I'd rather get into the discussion that everybody was having. To me, sovereignty is going out, do them, proclaim, and just sit and do it. What you're looking at is over 50 acres of something that we like really accomplish in the future. So little nation. The current, this area right here is where everybody just over this whole place right here. Oh, maybe 2,000 trees over 100 feet high. I'm bringing this up because we talk like hell in here. Only get one guy get on land base. Only one guy. 20 years ago, where you guys was? We had to go jail. We had to go through the whole thing. My family had to go jail with me. Sometimes I think our warriors went school. They never come back yet. So, this is what sovereignty to us. For 20 years we've been on this land. When the law went passed, we proclaimed, went through the same thing that Henry was talking about that they went through, a process. I shared that. I shared our Constitution and the signatures of our kupuna councils and the heads that was involved at the time. This is what came out of that. Still there. we had to make one slight turn and create a 501c3 to get the lease. We went on the land September 24th, 1993. We got our lease, but we went on the land early. It was actually before the law passed, the apology law. And basically had a 55-year lease agreement in principle with the DLNR to acquire all this land. That was in 1993. After the law passed, then I resigned from the Sovereignty Advisory Commission after being appointed by then Governor Waihe'e. And I told him, you guys illegal. I jumped off the board, and we went up and we started clearing forest, because this whole thing was actually all forest. So we started cutting in here, and the neighbors got all upset. So the DLNR came, the Attorney General's office came, shut us down, said, you cannot do that. I said, well, we get an agreement in principle, no need nothing. Now we're talking about state, pala, all that. They never care. So it was just some pacification, or pacifying me and all that. So I told him, you know what, bro, we're going to take land from you guys then. Are you pissing me off? So right there, we went to Makapu. And as you enter, we're entering our old homestay on the right-hand side. As you enter, we went straight up on a hill over there in Makapu Beach. Put up our tent, and we never left for 15 months. That's how you exercise this law. Now, only reason why I came back is because I feel and I see our office trying to change. See some changes, like real serious, authentic changes going on around us. I've been trying to figure out how I can help with our experience and all of that, how we can bridge the gap between what happened with OHA, the Road Commission, for how many years since its inception. When OHA was created, I was part of Auntie Frenchie's group too. And yeah, that's when John Dem, the day of the Constitutional Convention, 1980, I ran for OHA. That time, 1980, was a really, really unreal, unbelievable time. We never know nothing. All of us, we just was excited. Something happened to us way back when. We all went and we gathered, and it was one of the highlights of watching the birth of OHA, Office of Hawaiian Affairs. So I ran in 1980. I never get in, but I know Walter them, Oka, they got in. And again, that was the beginning. Now, I got to tell you folks that although I agree strongly in time and all those things going on right now that we need, I know we need them. That's for the guys that no can wait. I mean, that don't want to go forward. Me, I still going to stay in this system. What they doing, because I got to. I ain't jumping. When I ain't jumping all the way. Not just put my feet in. How many of you folks over here got funded by OHA? Airplane, travel, any kind? Just raise your hand. Because I know who you guys are if you never. See what I mean? Well, we hate OHA. Don't need to be embarrassed about that. I never get anything for my travel or anything like that, but I went out to them. And now I like no, because I like get airline tickets too, and I go travel. I go out of islands educate. Because I know you guys got. Why we keep picking on OHA? That pissed me off. You know the better, just when you get around check, hey, you can't go get them, go out there, go get. The guys will give you the ticket, go over there. Hey, you go stay overnight, you get accommodation. Don't worry, they can make you go cow and everything like that. How's that? What a two-face, three-face, what kind of face? That's what's going on. People getting money. They coming over here not for nationhood. They put their project on the table. In the auspices of everything else going on. You guys really serious about getting the country back? we go occupy the Capitol, Supreme Court building. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Hey, we get on army together, let's go. I'm anytime, me 24/7. See, different now, you know why? Loss of freedom come into play. When you gotta go jail. If you're young, you gotta watch out. Your wife might find another boyfriend, you're in jail. See that kind? That's real. You cannot come here and talk about sovereignty, independence, and you're not going to jail for that. Or you're not going to die for that. Our village, only one of his kind. And like Viviana, we're waiting for go over to the new government too, because we get the same clause in there. Should a Hawaiian government come, our land can be transferred over. So, I'm all for independence, believe me. Total independence. But if you guys like time, more time. See, the thing is, everybody that I know, they're asking for time. They don't realize that our people no the luxury of time. As we go on and we prolong things, processes, whatever, committees going to be formed, more money going out to these committees, blah, 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 and we'll start a whole circle of grabbing money. That's why everybody around here. So, I'm all, like I said, I'm all for extending all that. If it don't work, I'm still all in with this process. I just like you folks know. I don't want traitor, I don't want treasonous. Wherever that come from, hey, everybody get his opinion. But our own leader, just one leader, they get land. You know what? Those guys going all the way to the mountain top. If you believe in what you're doing, independence, just grab land. Go out there, grab them. You might not get arrested this time because of what's going on with everything. Easy. Gotta do a paper. See this? I got a whole bunch over there too. Now with the paper at this point, you guys like talk about action. Let me know when you folks really like go occupy. Occupy, kidnap, any kind. We will do them. Oh, I mean, this is serious. When I hear, we gotta watch out for violence. Oh, now that makes me the kind. Stand up here, change my presentation now. Better be ready for violence. We don't put that out, we're not gonna have that. Stay away from that kind. Be loud that. We don't need to be amongst ourselves. But I strongly remind the independence movement that if we're going to do it, playing with the paper is just as bad as playing with anything else. We just go grab land, we go take stuff. I'll go with you folks. I'm not going in the front, but when I turn around, no more nobody in the back. Yeah, that happened to me before, but see, this real sovereignty now. Real sovereignty. All I like do is support what get out there. The Royal Commission done June, done already. Why we keep bringing that shit up? So, and Ohana needs support. If supporting them means just support the money that belongs to us, then just do that. I don't blame you guys for getting funds, airline tickets, and all that. You guys not low either. We will be honest, and we will talk like this, honest. You get money for your organization, fine. About time. Especially if we do our own presentations or processes. I believe in that. If you like doing fast, I believe in that more fast. All we have to do is do them. I believe this process, we take away Act 195. Forget about what that means. And then somehow in the convention or before, figure out how we can proclaim something and be a body of authority. Believe me, that's the only peaceful ways I know I can think of, besides rubber stamp initiatives and all those things. But if we don't know nothing right now, nobody can figure out how we're going to get this body together, how we're going to get this bunch together. You know, I don't know the answers, but we get a little experiences that we had done. This is one of them. I can tell you that when somebody thinking about lawn mowing their grass, we're figuring out how we're going to build the next road, how we're going to do the next Lo'i. This is our real fish ponds in Lo'i in the back here. We get ponds over here. You know what? You guys got to come visit all that. For a long time, we've been behind. The gun, no permits, no nothing. We are on lease. When we signed the lease was broken already because we never had permits for anything. Never did and still don't have. So we kind of like one Kaho'olawe with people on top. You look at it that way. That's what it is. Waiting for go over like Kaho'olawe to the promised land. Well, I figure we're on the promised land already. We work on them, we did them, and this can be done all over. Try your area. You get big land, get some more. Just cut them down, burn them. Call up the fire department, tell them you're cooking a kind for fundraiser. Oh, that's what I did. You know, we burned about 500 trees one time. And we got scared the night time. The whole thing will look like one lava flow in our village, night time. We had to stay outside with our water hoses like we're going to kind of peel them out, right? Long, maybe about almost 100 yards long. Right? So yeah, when you take one stand, that's the kind of stuff you do. The thing that I play with paper and all that, come over here, talk about all this kind of. When we go back over there, I cannot wait for go put out or do something and all that. Make me strong. Anything for help our people. Should all think of that. What you're going to do for your people, your country, your government. Mind me. Excited. I don't like cry, you know. Excited. Can I get them out? But, you know, in here, get all kind of things going back and forth, and you see the anger, I can see the pain. And can I help? We knew at this, nobody in the world has a job like us. Nobody. So number one, plan, and we're trying to think we can put them together in a few days, let alone a few months, or for the rest of the year. You know why? Because war only no casualties. A peaceful war. Getting nailed, you're getting killed, you don't even know. Bad health, bad everything. So, like I said, I appreciate all the education this morning too from the leaders this morning and this afternoon as well. Real eye-opener, again, hearing the things I involved with, I'm going, oh. But when you make your commitment, you got to stand by them. I'm not going to back off from OHA or the Road Commission out already, but I'm not going to back off from them. And as much as we pick on them, we just got to move ahead, because get plenty we can pick on for. Some people not here anymore. So, I think, I just like thank you folks for listening, hearing my manao. I'll fight for you no matter what side you think I'm on, inside, outside, no side. Hey, if things get bad, I just go back home. Shut the gate. Till everybody ready, of course clear, okay, let's come back out. No, you know, Hey, I love all you folks, man. Aloha.
Mahalo, Bumpy. We're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break and come back at 3:15 and start our QA session. So mahalo everyone for your courteous listening to all of our speakers. Be back at 3:15. Kaho'olawe.